Now, here's a bit of a puzzle. Silvio Berlusconi. All across Europe, the former Italian Prime Minister is regarded as a music hall joke. In Italy, he's loathed by millions, but many others regard him as a kind of lost prince, the saviour who can redeem their country from those awful, ordinary politicians. Since Berlusconi has had more comebacks than Frank Sinatra and is planning another one in elections this weekend, we wanted to try to explain his appeal, if that's the right word. Here's Katja Adler.
The man of a smile and a tan that never seem to fade. Silvio Berlusconi has a lot to grin about. His billion-dollar business empire, decades younger fiancée, and Phoenix from the ashes return to politics in Italy's current election campaign.
Viva l'Italia! Viva Forza Italia!
Despite 20 years of financial, sexual and political scandals, millions of Italians say they'll vote for Silvio Berlusconi now, as before. Why?
Outside Italy, this is what we think of when we hear the name Silvio Berlusconi. Luxury, flashy villas, this one known for hosting his bunga parties, accompanied by other ageing, influential men cavorting with scores of scantily dressed young women. We think of the famous gaffes, such as praising Mussolini on Holocaust Memorial Day. But there is a large part of the Italian electorate that has a very different image of the man.
This is where Silvio Berlusconi was born. Milan, where Italy's business heart beats, and where he made his fortune in property, football and media. It's also a key battleground in this weekend's election. Back in 1994, when Silvio Berlusconi entered the world of politics, he promised to share his recipe of glitz, glamour and success with the rest of Italy. But the party here is very much over. The Eurozone's third largest economy is in serious trouble. Mr. Berlusconi was unceremoniously booted from government 18 months ago, his political career apparently in tatters. Now he's campaigning for a comeback, promising a fairy tale ending for Italian families. And people here are listening. So how has he managed this remarkable resurrection from the political dead?
In the heart of many Italians, Berlusconi will never die. He's really like Mr. Peron in Argentina. The nature of the relation between Berlusconi and his voters is not rational. It is an emotional relation.
How?
In the sense that he's a sort of emperor. He's a sort of king. We are looking for a king. We were not a democracy in the modern sense of the term. We are in between, in the middle between modern democracies and more ancient political forms.
In previous elections, Silvio Berlusconi relied pretty heavily on the cult of Berlusconi. Just look at this video from his 2008 campaign for re-election, with its insistent refrain, "Thank goodness for Silvio."
Sono sempre entrato per carattere in una gara per vincere.
But now, possibly a little chastened by being ousted mid-term from government and by the growing public distaste for his private conduct, Mr. Berlusconi is pushing his economic message rather more, and his flamboyant image a little less. Silvio Berlusconi knows the economy is on all Italians' minds. Living costs here are some of the highest in Europe. So are the levels of tax evasion, by the way. Lost tax revenues in Italy are thought to be equivalent to 18% of GDP. Bergamo, like Milan, is part of the northern Lombardy region. People are still relatively well off compared to the misery in Italy's south. But the bitter chill of economic hardship bites here too.
A me piacerebbe far vivere Berlusconi con uno stipendio di una persona.
I'd love to see Berlusconi live on the wage of the average Italian. He has no idea. He wouldn't last an hour and a half.
L'italiano medio al giorno d'oggi è impossibile.
Spero che possa mantenere il programma politico che
I hope he can keep to his program to create jobs, remove the taxes that have been introduced recently, and pay back the money we've already paid out.
Berlusconi?
Berlusconi, sì.
Perché?
Perché Berlusconi è un grande imprenditore.
Berlusconi is a great businessman. He has built a media empire. If he wins the election, I hope he will do for Italy what he has done for himself.
But Silvio Berlusconi has already been Prime Minister 3 times. And while his own fortunes prospered, Italy's economy nosedived. Critics say he turned a blind eye to the structural reforms Italy so needs. You won't notice it when walking down Rome's splendid streets, but protectionism, corruption and red tape mean it's tough to do business here. Worse in Italy, according to the World Bank, than in Belarus and Mongolia. But a growing number of Italians blame the euro for their pain rather than Silvio Berlusconi. Ever the populist, Berlusconi has added a sharp Eurosceptic tone to his campaign. And this is his favourite pulpit, the television studio. Mr. Berlusconi knows 80% of Italians get their news and information from television. He owns 3 of Italy's biggest TV channels. And in the lead up to this election, he's appeared almost daily on all the others. TV presenter Giovanni Flores is a household name in Italy. He says Berlusconi is the master of the medium.
Silvio Berlusconi ha basato molto del suo potere sulla capacità.
Silvio bases a significant part of his power on his ability on television. Of course, it's helped him a lot that half of the television stations belong to him, and he has influence over the other half. But he uses the media to speak with as many people as possible, and his strongest talent is making Italians believe that he's understood their problems, like when he talks about returning what they've paid in property tax. As a journalist, you want to bring him back to reality, but his skill lies in peddling dreams as reality.
Silvio Berlusconi's opponents say his agenda is more insidious. They accuse him of using his media influence to silence critics and of being in politics primarily to keep himself out of jail. Mr. Berlusconi says he's innocent, but over the years his legal woes have been considerable. Sabina Guzzanti is a political satirist. Her scathing sketches have often been censored in Italy.
After 20 years of Berlusconi, we don't have culture anymore. We don't have sense of freedom anymore.
Sabina is just finishing a film about corruption. Nothing new in Italy. But she blames Silvio Berlusconi for lowering the moral tone of her country.
When you live in a big mess, with these big scandals every day, involving everyone, every level of institution. People get used to this. There is no wrong and right anymore. In this electoral period, even the people supposed to hate him, they're like fascinated. They love him, they laugh. They cannot really, they should be angry with him because actually he destroyed our country, destroyed our culture, destroyed every dignity we used to have. So, but they don't.
Perhaps so many Italians have had that reaction to Silvio Berlusconi because they're deeply disillusioned with politics in general. It's carnival time in Viareggio, Tuscany. And even here, Italian leaders are derided. They're mocked as infantile, accused of leading the country a merry dance, and of emptying Italian pockets while they enrich themselves with kickbacks.
Aside from their politicians, many Italians have little faith in their political system. It was put in place after Mussolini to make sure that no one politician or party could ever turn Italy into a dictatorship again. Good in theory. In practice, it means no Italian Prime Minister has the clout to deliver tough political reform. suffering bureaucracy and rules across Italy has given birth to a culture of arrangiarsi. That means finding your way around the system. Silvio Berlusconi is a master at that, and many here admire him for it.
150,000 Italian people.
Deborah Bergamini is an MP for Berlusconi's People of Freedom Party and a close ally. She says non-Italians are unjustly dismissive of Silvio Berlusconi and his supporters.
To get the truth, you should be Italian, because you should live in this country and know which are the main problems. The media circus has decided that Berlusconi is not acceptable. So the other option is that you believe that Italians are all stupid.
The allegation is that he wants political power just for his own self-interest.
Well, you know, my experience of the man is that if he had looked at his own personal interest, he would have been far, far away from politics. That is exactly the contrary of what he decided to do.
Wouldn't he have been in jail, actually, if he hadn't been in politics?
Well, in jail, no way, no way. Now, all the rest about personal interest in politics, again, I've seen the contrary. I've seen that he's been profoundly hurt by his decision of getting into politics open face. You know, you can do politics in two different ways. You can put your face on and, how to say, work openly and clearly and make your proposition to the country as you are. Or you can do politics in a second line, hidden, and that's something that is quite common in Italy. I very much appreciate the fact that he's been very open since the very beginning.
Mr. Berlusconi is unlikely to win these elections, but this is just another chapter in the long relationship between Silvio Berlusconi and the Italian people. Following the vote, he'll remain a strong presence in the Italian parliament, on Italian television, and on the streets of Italy.